What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to do a team building guide for the upcoming AGL DOKKANFEST Turles EZA. This is going to be releasing in just a couple of days here on Global Dokkan. So I figured we would go ahead and take a look at what are the best units to use. So it's going to be a normal 30-stage EZA, just as always. The type effective category here is low class warriors, so this is yet another tricky category. They've been releasing quite a few of these with like interesting categories lately. So the low class warrior category, it does have one kind of cheat in here because you have the free to play Team Bardock squad. They're all available here. So technically, every single player in the game should have a team for this EZA because you do have access to that Team Bardock squad. So if you have them grinded up, which you should, then I think that team alone should be good enough to get you through this EZA. We are going to go over quite a few other options here. Obviously, we do have quite a few other units on the low-class warrior category here. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump in, because I do have a few other strategies that you can use if you do not have these cards grinded up and don't feel like doing the giant grind before this event comes out. Okay, yeah, so starting out, obviously, the most obvious thing to do would just be to run the Team Bardock squad. So you could lead with the Int Team Bardock LR here. And they have 120% to stats for all the Team Bardock members, and then you've got all 5... Ooh, oh my goodness, my windows are like bugging out on me. Sorry about that. So yeah, you've got all 5 of the Team Bardock members here that you'll be able to use. So really quickly, I mean, obviously they're all going to be really good together. They have wonderful synergy and stuff. One thing you want to keep in mind with this team, though, is that a lot of them have different status effects that they're not going to be able to proc because this is an EZA event, right? So Borgos has the high chance of stunning. That is definitely not going to proc. He doesn't launch his additional super because you're not facing 2 or more enemies. However, he is going to have high chance to crit at all times, so that would be really good. And then Tora is going to be really solid here because I think he still has all his abilities. Yeah, so he's going to be getting the HP recovery. He'll be getting, obviously giving these boosts to all the allies, and then he's getting his attack and defense raises on super as well. So yeah, that will all still help you. Fasha is still going to be really good because she is still going to be orb changing, and she has her high chance of evading, which is going to be really solid. She is going to be one of the better units for this EZA for sure, because she's getting the great defense raise on super attack, plus the high chance of evading. So she's going to be really solid defensively. She's a really, really good good option here. Even if you're not running the full Team Bardock squad, she can still be a really, really useful asset. Same thing with this guy. He is going to be really solid too because of his nuking passive. If you're able to get him a solid chunk of orbs, he is going to perform very well. He's going to hit pretty hard, and he is also going to be raising attack and defense on super, so that'll be nice. Obviously, he's not going to be able to get off the ceiling. But if you are running the full Team Bardock squad, then this part's going to be really good too, because he's going to be reducing damage received by 50%. I think this part is actually really important because he has type disadvantage in this EZA against the AGL Turles. So if you are going to be running him, it's probably going to be a lot smarter to have the full Team Bardock set up. That way you can have access to this 50% damage reduction with him. That's going to make him look a lot better, defensively at least. Because if you're getting critical hits with a lot of orbs selected, then he's still going to be doing a lot of attack regardless of having type disadvantage. And then Shugesh has all kinds of fun stuff that he's going to be adding to his kit with when the enemy is stunned, sealed, and attack and defense down, which you're not going to be able to do any of that in EZA, so all you're really getting from him is the defensive stacks per turn. Yeah, and then, just the 200% stats at the start of turn is all. So yeah, he can be decent as well. Okay, so moving on to some of the other options that we've got here. We have the AGL DOKKANFEST Bardock. He can be a really good option because he is a low-class warriors leader. He's 170% leader to low-class warriors, so that is going to be he could be a really solid option for you. You could even run him instead of the free-to-play Team Bardock LR. Instead of them giving 120% to Team Bardock, you could actually just run this guy as your leader, and then he will be giving low-class warriors, which is still all of those units, right? The 170% buff. The only thing to consider is that he himself, I don't believe he is on Team Bardock. Let me see. Yes, I'm not making that up. He is actually not on Team Bardock. So, I think it's because of some complication with where this card comes from, because it comes from a specific fight, versus like Frieza or something, when he's like fighting out on his own. So he's actually not a part of the Team Bardock squad, because this is when he's in a solo fight. So like the blood-soaked rag that he's wearing around his head is from his fallen comrades after they've already been defeated by Zarbon and Dodoria. So he is like a solo Bardock at this point. He's no longer a part of the Team Bardock squad. So yeah, he's not on Team Bardock. So that's going to affect some of the passive skills of the free-to-play Team Bardock squad, because they depend on having other Team Bardock members with them sometimes. So that can affect them. So just keep that in mind if you do choose to use him as your leader for the boosted leader skill. So another solid option for a leader is going to be Turles here. Now, or I'm sorry, Raditz. Turles EZA. But yeah, Raditz is going to be another solid option because he is Pure Saiyan's leader with the additional 30% to Space Traveling Warriors. So you could also run this guy as your leader with all of the free-to-play Team Bardock squad, because they're all going to be on Pure Saiyans, and then they're also all on Space Traveling Warriors as well. So they'll be under their 200% leader skill. So this can look really, really solid. Obviously, Raditz himself is pretty butt cheeks, so he isn't going to be doing too much, but the fact that he provides a 200% leader skill to like one of the best free-to-play setups in the game is going to probably be enough to get you through this EZA. I don't think that Raditz is outright just going to get you killed, especially if you just hide him. Then you should be fine. Keep it, rotate him off, or make sure you put him in the slot that is taking the least amount of attacks and stuff, and he should be alright. At least through stage 30, you shouldn't have too many issues with this, I don't think. So yeah, he could be another solid option. I know that probably not a lot of people have Raditz because no one was really summoning for him. Though a surprising amount of people did summon for Raditz on Global, more than people would have advised, more than I would have advised. Okay, so next up we have another great free-to-play option here. The version Z Goku. So he is permanently available. You can grind him up from the Dragon Ball story events. So if you don't have him, you could go grind him up right now and get him ready for this EZA. He is a super, super strong option. This guy's going to be double-digit tanking and providing millions of damage. So if you have a team build setup that allows him to be on the team, then he is going to look very, very good. So if you're using the AGL Bardock or the AGL Bardock or the Raditz, he'll be on either one of these teams. You can run him under either of these leader skills, and then he'll be looking pretty solid there. So yeah, he can be a pretty good addition to the team as well. Though I don't think you'd want to use him as a leader here because his leader skill is really low. So that's probably not a good option. Okay, so another solid option we have here is the EZA LR Bardock here. So this guy hits really, really hard. He's definitely a good option to use on the team if you have him. If you're going to be able to get him on the leader skill. He is on Team Bardock, which is kind of funny because he also wears the blood-soaked rag, and this is like when he is fighting Frieza in his final moments before he dies. So this is like even later in chronology than the AGL Bardock here, but this guy is on Team Bardock and the other one isn't. Oh, I'm sorry. No, yeah, he is Team Bardock. That's interesting. I'm actually not 100% sure the lore behind that. I'd have to touch up on my some of my Dragon Ball movies to to be able to answer that question for myself. But yeah, okay, so this guy is on Team Bardock, so you will be able to run him on any of these teams, no matter which ones. But obviously he's on Pure Saiyans and stuff too, so you could just run him on the Raditz team. And yeah, he'll do decently defensively. He gets his defense raises on Super, so that's nice. He's got 100% stats at the start of turn, and then he gets a little bit of extra attack you know, that builds up throughout the few turns. He's not going to be getting the additional defense when you're facing 2 or more enemies, obviously, so that's going to hurt him a little bit defensively, but he does get a lot of ki when you're facing 1 enemy, so that can be very helpful as well. Okay, so moving on here, we've got the STR Great Ape Raditz. So I threw him in here just because this unit is pretty strong in general. You know, I figure this category is pretty small, so maybe some people would have to use him. So if you're curious if he's usable, I'd say yeah, he is usable because he's got this nuking passive here. So you're going to, 1, either want to make sure that he doesn't get hit by attacks, or 2, get him a lot of orbs so that he can get as much defense as possible. But having the great raises on super, on top of getting a lot of orbs, he can actually tank decently in this EZA, I think. And then he also does have the Giant Ape chance that could come in clutch for you too. Might be able to get a little extra damage in that way. Okay, so we've got the Great Ape Kid Goku here. After EZA, he can be another decent option. I would say he's probably a better option than the Raditz, just because the Raditz is type disadvantage and this guy's type neutral, so he's not going to be as much of a defensive liability. He gets infinite raises on super attack here, so that's nice. 80% stats at the start of turn, and then an additional 80% on super attack. So after he supers, he's going to be tanking pretty well. And then if your HP is 80% or less, he has a medium chance of performing an additional, which is nice because he gets these stacks here. And then, but this part of the 80% on super attack only procs once. That doesn't stack. Yeah, and then he's got the Giant Ape chance as well. So this guy could be another solid option for you. Okay, so then we've got this free-to-play Giant Ape Bardock. He could be pretty solid as well. Actually, I am gonna take that back because I just realized he's not getting this part of his passive because you're not facing 2 or more enemies, and he's not getting this part of your passive because it's not a Wicked Bloodline enemy. So this guy's actually going to be really, really weak in this EZA. Never mind. I wouldn't recommend using him. I'm going to take him off here. Okay, so next up we've got the Tech Raditz here. He could be decent. There's a lot of effects in his kit as far as, you know, a high chance of stunning here, and then, you know, stuns and reduces damage received when you're facing 2 or more enemies. That's not going to happen. Let's see. And then he's not getting the additional attack from fighting a Goku's family or a Namekian. So he isn't getting any of that. But he's basically just getting 200% to stats because you're facing 1 enemy. And he does get an attack raise on super. So that can be decent. And keep in mind that this guy is going to have type advantage. So he can be another solid fill-in option if you aren't able to build a solid team out of everything else that we have up here. Then he can be a decent option for you as well. Honestly, because he's 120% low-class warrior lead, he might be a good option to use instead of the int Team Bardock leader, because it's the same percentage, but the Tech Raditz has type advantage. So, I mean, this guy is giving a stat buff to the entire rotation too, and he's also on Team Bardock himself, so that's going to help the rest of the units on your team that need Team Bardock members. So there's that to consider, but you could potentially run him as your leader there. So yeah, he could be a good option. Okay, now, if you are still not convinced on the whole low-class warrior strategy and you want to go a different route, you do have that option. Really quickly, I did want to mention Tech Caulifla, because Turles is a pure Saiyan, so she is going to be a wonderful defensive option for this no matter what team you're using, because she is going to dodge 100% of this event. But I did want to mention, you can also run a pure Saiyans team, because there's a lot of every single unit that I just showed you is on the pure Saiyans category. So if you were to run this guy as a pure Saiyans lead, I wouldn't recommend running any other pure Saiyans lead, because they're just not good. Well, I mean, Raditz obviously would be a good option, but like the STR Super Vegeta or the physical transforming Vegeta, those units are not good enough for this, not being on the type effective category of low class warriors. This is the only off category like Pure Saiyan's leader that I would recommend using. So if you have this guy and you got him EZA'd, then he could be a really solid option. 170% to stats, and then obviously he's going to be getting you know, all his additional attacks and stuff, and giving him additional defense. So once his defense is built up, then he'll be able to tank pretty decently, being type neutral. And then yeah, he provides 170% leader skill to any of the units that I had just mentioned to you there. You could use any mix of them on the team. The other thing to mention is if you do go the route of using him, then Tech Caulifla is on Pure Saiyans, so she is going to have a leader skill at that point, and she has type advantage. So even though she's not on the type effective category, I think she could even still do some damage if she was like getting 170% to her stats and she has type advantage. So she could actually end up being like an offensive option for you too, which is kind of funny, I think. Okay, and then, yeah, the last unit I wanted to mention here, if you're using that Pure Saiyans build, then if you're able to get this guy under the leader skill, he's going to be really solid as well, because you're facing a movie boss and Pure Saiyan category enemy, so he's going to be reducing damage received by 77%, and he has type advantage. So that's already going to be pretty solid, the reducing 77%. That's not enough on its own. He can still be a little bit of a liability if he doesn't have a leader skill. Maybe not in this EZA though, he might be fine without a leader skill. We'll have to try it out and see. But definitely if you do get him on a leader skill, if you're running like the Pure Saiyans team, then this guy's going to be taking absolutely no damage, and he will be putting out some damage as well, as long as you're able to get him some key spheres, because obviously he's got this little nuking portion in his passive. And if you're able to proc this part too, where he gets the 2 rainbow key spheres and gets this additional buff, then yeah, he could actually hit decently hard too. So yeah, you could always just run the Pure Saiyans build if you're not trying to do the low class warrior build itself or a Team Bardock build. But yeah, so that's basically all of the units that I've got for you. I'm excited for this EZA. This new Turles card is actually like insane. So yeah, I can't wait to get him EZA'd. It's gonna be a good one. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, then consider being a part of the Toxic Tribe with a like, comment, and subscribe on the video. And that is gonna do it for this one. I will catch you guys next time. Peace.